Yep. Okay. Peace and prosperity, everyone. Back again. Hey, Patagonia. That's enough. Uh, Back again with another live video. So basically, right now, as you can see, we have Leia here and we have Lulu, right? So Leia just got on Patagonia. That's enough. Ah, leave it. So we have Leia here, Princess Leia. We just got Leia on Sunday. Now, as you can see, I have Leia tethered to me. There's a couple of reasons why I'm doing that. Because Leia is a runner, she's a track star, right? You cannot trust Leia to be loose because she is the dog that will find the littlest hole to get out of, and she will be in China somewhere tomorrow, right? So this here is a part of her training, right? Because she has such high fear anxiety, and with her fear anxiety, flight is her number one option. I'm talking about she's gone. Michael Johnson, she's out of here, right? So because we know that, then we have to take precautions, right? So obviously this serves as a restraint to where she can't just run away when fear pops up. But also what this does is this creates sort of a dependency, right? Which, when you have dependency, you have a higher level of trust, right? So because we only had her for a couple of days, we actually have her in the program for 6 weeks, right? The first, depending on her, right, we can't rush the process. Every dog is a little different. We have to allow her to adjust, right? Because this is a shock to her system, right? This is why her fight mode is so high, right? Because it's like, what is going on? You got all of these dogs. I don't know what to do with myself. Now, mind you, this is a dog, right, that when the owners walk her on the leash, you would think she would try to kill a dog that she saw on the leash. But as you can see, she's surrounded by dogs, right? And I do this on purpose, right? I do this to purposely overstimulate her system, right? Which forces her to kind of shut down. It forces her brain to just submit because she doesn't know which way to go, where it's coming from. She's all surrounded by it, right? So it overstimulates her, right? I do this on purpose to literally shut her system down so it can reboot, right? So she's in her reboot mode right now. So again, I tether when I get dogs like that that are just, again, they're flight risk, right? I tether them to me and I literally just perform my everyday routine, right? I clean up, feed dogs, and she has to come with me everywhere I go. What that's going to create over time again is that trust, right? She's going to realize, like, shoot, every time he move, I gotta move because the leash is on me. So I might as well, at some point, just go with him, right? So that's what we're doing with her. So that's one dog that we're training, but we're training indirectly, right? And then I'm also keeping an eye on her to see if she has a moment where she needs to be corrected, right? Because if she does negatively react or reacts, right? She growls or snaps at one of the dogs. I'm going to correct her because she has to learn that that's unacceptable, right? Because again, one of the main issues that her owners are having is her leash reactivity to people and dogs, right? So again, that's how we get into indirect training with her. And then we have Miss Lulu here, right? Miss Dirty Lulu, right? When you have a white dog, it's just like, it's like, it always looks like they're going to be dirty, especially when they're with other dogs because they're playing and stuff like that. So don't mind her grudginess, right? She's being a dog. So anyway, what we're working on with Miss Lulu, just like in yesterday's video, yeah, good girl. That's a good girl. We're working on impulse control, right? And we're also working on obedience. And the main thing that we're working with obedience, because she actually knows the obedience commands, right? What we're really working on is duration, right? Which is a part of impulse control. Because that is her main issue. Her main issue is impulse control, right? She's a very impulsive dog. She's a pit bull Jack Russell Terrier cross. And if you understand anything about those dogs, there's no such thing as impulse control with those dogs, right? So that's what we're working on with her. Lulu, come. Yes. Yes, come. Right here. Place. Come here. Come. Yes. Place. Sit. Yes, good girl. That's a good girl. That's a good girl. Yes. That's a good girl. Yes. Lulu, come. Place. Sit. Yes, good girl. That's a good girl, right? So again, we're working the routine, and as you can see, right, I'm using the luring technique, right? Now here's the thing, and this is where you have to know the dog that you're dealing with, right? You have to know the technique that is going to benefit the dog that you're working with the most, right? Because she's such a high drive dog and she lacks impulse control at a high level, right? I use the luring technique because her ability to focus is so low, right? She literally has ADHD, right? Extreme ADHD. So I use this technique on dogs like that because it allows me to buy more time, right? But again, you have to know how to use these techniques, but not become dependent on them, right? Which means it cannot be your only way you train dogs, right? So that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. So I'm just, you guys can come along for the ride. Obviously, if you have any questions, you can put them in the comments. My man Dallas will read the questions as they come up. And, we'll address any questions in real time, right? So, Lulu, come. Yes, come. Place. Sit. Yes, good girl. Right? Now, what I'm doing over time, right, I am going to increase the expectations, right? Which means before I reward her, I'm just gonna hold it, right? So every time we do it, I'm gonna hold it for a second or two longer, all right? This is how we build duration, right? So that's how we're gonna do that. Lulu, come. Yes. Place. Sit. No, come. Yes, come. Place. Sit. Yes, good girl. That's a good girl. Now I want you to notice one thing, right? As soon as I say yes, she stands up, right? So now we're gonna correct that. Because just because I reward you doesn't mean you break the command, right? That doesn't mean the command is over. I'm just rewarding you, but I still want you to stay in command, right? Now, if you also saw, I used the leash, right? I used the leash to manually steer her in while I'm also using the luring technique to lure her in position, right? But this here is my steering column, right? This here is my steering wheel, right? I use them both in conjunction to make sure I get the most control possible, right? So as you saw, when I was correcting her positioning, right, I use my steering column to get her in position, but use my steering wheel to make sure that I have her attention, her eyes, right? And a good telltale sign of if you have a dog's attention is if you have their eyes, right? So that's one of the main things I'm looking for when I'm building engagement in dogs is do I have your eyes, right? So as you can see, we have her eyes. And the exercise, look at her, right? Look at her, right? Let's see. So she's still not taking the food, but she's showing interest. Good girl, right? So you see she spit it out, but she's showing interest, right? So again, we're just kind of letting her come along on her own time, right? Lulu, come. Yes, come on. Now you gotta bring it in. Come on. Come on. Place. Sit. Yes, good girl. That's a good girl. Right? So we're gonna start fixing her breaking the command. So let's do it again. Lulu. Yes, come. Right. Come. Yes. Sit. Nope. Yes, good girl. Right? So you see how we fix that? Before I give her the reward, she goes to take that butt up off the ground. I take the reward away, right? That's a negative reinforcer. As soon as she puts that butt back on the ground, then we reward. If you notice, she kept her butt on the ground. Now, if she would have lifted her butt off the ground again, and I would have took the food away, right? But I tell you what, we made the mistake. We didn't release her from the command. But that's okay, right? Because we can always introduce that, right? So let me show you how we do that. Lulu, come. Right, yes, come. Place. Sit. Good girl. No. Yes. Free. Good girl, right? So that's how you build the free command, right? So you toss the work, you toss the food or whatever, whatever tool that you're using. It could be a toy, it could be anything that you're using, right? You toss the tool and you say the word free, right? And eventually she will understand when you say free, that means now she has the freedom to go off and do whatever they want to do, right? Be a dog, go sniff every tree and do whatever dogs do, right? So let's do it again. Yes, come on. I know, come on, you gotta work through it. Come, place. Sit. Yes, good, nope. Yes, good girl. Free. Good girl. Good girl. Yes. So, folks, again, another quick video, right? We're gonna keep hitting you with these live videos, right? That way it gives you guys the opportunity to ask any questions that you have in real time, right? Because I'm gonna be honest, I don't have a lot of time to go through the comments. I do my best. But as you can imagine, it's a lot of work going through the comments and answering questions, after the fact, right? So if I can give you the answer in real time, I just think it's more valuable. So we're definitely going to continue to do these live videos, to give you guys the best value we possibly can. So we're going to continue our training sessions. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comments. I'll do my best to get to them. You can also call me directly, 815-351-6636. You can also send me an email, thestructuredk9academy@gmail.com. And until the next video, you are to master your faith, the captain of your soul. Stay safe, stay dangerous. Peace and prosperity.